This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
The views expressed by guests on this program do not necessarily represent the views of the host or owners of the Doggy Diva show and do not necessarily constitute endorsement of products. Medical information discussed by guests on this program are those of the guests and is only for informational purposes and should not replace medical advice by your local veterinarian professional.
Hi, this is Susan Marie from the Doggy Diva Show. This week, protecting your dogs from holiday decorations and food, and the latest from best-selling cozy mystery author Dianne Harman. That's what's on our show this week. Let's get started.
Hey, did you hear that? What is that? It's the bark heard round the world. The Doggy Diva Show. Here's national award-winning author and animal advocate, Susan Marie.
Hi, welcome to the Doggy Diva Show, the show for animal lovers. I'm your host, Susan Marie, and as always, I'm joined by my canine co-hosts, the Doggy Divas themselves. Thank you for joining us today as we bring the experts in the pet and animal world right to you. Contact us at thedoggydiva.com. That's the DOGGYDIVA.com. We love hearing from you. So go grab a cup of coffee and your pet's favorite treat, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms, and our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, Stitcher, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Doggy Diva Show. It's holiday time. We want to make sure that we're celebrating the holidays with our pets, but we want to make sure we celebrate them safely. So I have with us today Monica Leighton, president of Professional Pet Sitting, with our pet tip of the week. And hey, Monica, can you help us share like some holiday ideas that we could celebrate safely with our pets?
Absolutely. So everybody loves bringing in the pets to enjoy the holidays with us. So we want to make sure that they stay safe. So in that regard, a couple tips for our pet owners so that way our pets can be safe and happy and enjoy the holiday season with us. So as we put up our tree, for me, it's always the first thing you do every year. Before you start baking, before you do anything else, you got to get the tree up. It just gets you in the spirit. So when you're getting your tree on, making sure you watch, no tinsel. And I've actually had issues with some sneaky pets getting into garland. So definitely be on the lookout for that one, because that's one that you don't hear a whole lot about, but you would be surprised how many pets will literally just bite into garland and chew it right off the tree. Ooh. And again, kind of foily stuff. And sometimes that, gets wadded up in the stomach and isn't as easy to pass, but it kind of has that crunchy, tinsely kind of feel and look. So, it glistens in the light, which is what everybody loves because it makes it pretty, but it definitely can attract our pets as well.
Kind of like tinsel used to. This is the new shiny object that they love.
Yes. Well, I had gone and they had this really pretty, like gold garland, and it had little rose gold, like foils through it. And I thought it was gorgeous, and I bought it, and then I got it on my tree, and I loved it because it lit up so pretty. And then immediately my pets were all over it. And I'm like, what the heck? And it didn't even occur to me in the store that, but yeah, they liked it. They liked it a lot too. Another thing I found with my little energetic pug is being cautious about glass ornaments. And I love beautiful ornaments, but what we have changed to, and depending on how tall your pet is, but we got, ornaments that matched, but I reserved the glass and breakable ones to the top half of the tree because just the dogs running around and playing and they're kind of like running underneath it and they're running by and knocking stuff off with a tail, and then you'll come home from work and all of a sudden you've got a shattered ornament on the floor and they've walked through it and there's little scattered glass pieces, and the last thing you want is a scraped up pad. I mean, pads are so sensitive, they bleed very easily, and you could get stuff stuck in there. So I always recommend plastic or non-shattering ornaments, at least for as high as the pets can go.
Not only is it great to have you decorate your tree, it's great to keep you out of like the vet's office having to get your little paw pad all cleaned up or stitched up because it's all cut with the glass.
Absolutely. And then one thing that just makes the holidays feel like the holidays for me is baking. Growing up, my grandmother and I would bake together. We would spend like Saturday afternoon making like 5 different types of, cookies for the family. And it brings back so many great memories. And I know a lot of people love to bake during the holidays. And I mean, who doesn't love a good baked good? But some of those items cause issues for our pets. So they have been so great in current years with having items that our entire family can enjoy and still appease their dietary restrictions. So, for example, if you have a family member who is diabetic or, has sugar issues, they have a lot of low sugar, no sugar, and have some they call glucose blends, glucose formulas, things like that for baked items to keep that sugar level down. However, a lot of those items contain xylitol and artificial sweeteners. So if you have a member of the family that you are, doing any of those kind of mixes for, extremely cautious about making sure that it's kept high, that your pets cannot get into it. Other things, the traditional Yule logs and the fruit cakes and things are oftentimes made with, combinations of fruits and nuts. And, certain nuts, macadamia nuts, for example, are not good for our dogs. So it's really making sure that the baked goods that are for the humans are staying with the humans. And what I started with my family is we make our own homemade dog treats for our pets when we're baking all the rest of our cookies. And usually that is a task that I give to my daughter. They have so many super easy recipes online. We're talking 3 or 4 ingredients. And if you have kids in the house, it's a great way for them to practice their measurements and to kind of, teach them the basics of cooking. They can just measure out their couple ingredients. They have great ones with like pumpkin, applesauce, things of that nature that are safe for our pets to eat and enjoyable. And then when people come over and enjoy the holidays with you, they have their own little treat that's just for the dogs. So my daughter, will whip up the couple ingredients and showed her how to roll them out. And we got a cute little, doggy. And she stamps them all out and makes them, and we give them to our friends with pets, as little extra gifts.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Those make nice hostess gifts if you're going to someone for the holidays who has dogs.
Yes, it is. And it's like, perfect like if you have a neighbor.
Yes.
But you don't have to spend a whole lot of money for it. And sometimes taking the time to make something means a lot more to people.
Yep, it does.
But, those always come as perfect gifts, and you put them in a little cellophane bag or a cute little, dollar store has a bunch of cute little cookie tubs on sale. You can't go well, $1.25 now, but you can't go wrong.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, but making sure that, the pets have their own treats. And if you don't have the time, give them their regular cookies or have, something like carrot sticks or something that a pet can eat that is not going to upset the stomach. Because our next item, our holiday meals, the last thing you want is somebody, a dog getting a turkey leg or, a ham bone, or even though turkey, for example, is a lean meat, um, so many pets come into the office after holidays and extreme pancreatitis. And pets do not do well with diet change. They just simply do not. And even though you feel like treating them to special things, sometimes it gives them a very, very upset stomach. So definitely, using caution in what you feed the pets and having your own designated treat. And then watching the trashes. So super, super big one around this time of the year, because you don't want garbages overflowing or being too full, or, a pantry door being left open to where it can be knocked over, and having a turkey carcass in there or something with bones, or, even, they have toxic issues with baked goods that have begun to spoil and mold. You get severe toxic issues with, deteriorating baked goods. That is something that, over the years, Pet Poison Helpline has had a huge influx of cases on. So definitely making sure that your garbage is really sealed up and stored someplace that your pet is not going to be able to rip into a bag if in the yard and, you don't see them for a moment, or even, wildlife outside ripping into something and then your pet coming over and kind of getting a hold of whatever remnants is left. So definitely making sure everything's contained in a location to where your pets are not going to have access to getting into it. You can avoid a lot of emergency visits for the veterinarian over the holidays. And then, last but not least is just making sure that your pets have their own space. So that way, if you do have guests in and out, you are not having to worry about pets darting out the doors or being uncomfortable or, having a little anxiety. So having a space, shut off just for them where they can kind of go and you can turn on a TV or a radio and they can be comfy and chill out and have a nice little pet nap, which is quite honestly one of the best things in the afternoon for them anyway. All love their little cat naps and doggy naps. But, having a little space for them to where it's, quiet, there's not the hustle and bustle of people in the house, or loud noises, things of that nature. Keep the security and safety of your pets, at the level it should be, because the last thing you want is, you welcoming a guest into your home and, the kitty freaking out and darting out the door, or, the cat or the dog getting excited and darting out a screen door as you're letting somebody in. So definitely not the way to spend a holiday, like driving around the neighborhood looking for a pet.
Yes. And in order to keep the holiday stress down too, if you put them in the back room, like we've talked about before, you have little music going on, they have their beds, they have their own treats. They're in their own little world and they could like just chill in there while you're entertaining or having your guests. And again, you don't have to worry about them running out, because there's nothing worse than holiday entertaining when you're chasing your pet out the door. Excuse me, wait a minute, we'll be back in a minute. What?
Absolutely. That's, so yeah, all of those little tips, you put them together and you have an amazing holiday that your pets are super happy, that everybody's super happy and well fed and full of cheer, and it makes for a great day.
It does. And Monica, I wish, and all of us wish you and Haley and all the pups and kitties a very, very, very happy holiday. Enjoy your holiday. You've given us some great tips as usual so that we can enjoy our holiday safely with our pets. So Monica, thank you very much and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you. We'll be back in just a moment. Hello, everyone. Susan Marie here to tell you about the award-winning 3-book series, The Doggy Diva Diaries. It is a trilogy of heartwarming and inspirational stories about Miss Olive, a lonely little rescue pup, hoping to find her forever family and friends and a life filled with love. In this series, Miss Olive learns that it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside, it's the kindness and love you have on the inside that counts. Available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other online booksellers. And please visit us at thedoggydiva.com for more information. Thank you, everyone. Coming up, the latest whodunit from best-selling cozy mystery author Dianne Harman. Stay with us.
For those fortunate to have experienced the deep bond and unconditional love of a companion animal, the death that follows can be one of the most difficult and misunderstood losses to go through. Many times, this devastating loss goes unrecognized and trivialized by family and friends, leaving grieving pet parents struggling to find healthy ways to cope with the loss. In And I Love You Still, a thoughtful guide and remembrance journal for healing the loss of a pet, Dr. Julianne Corbin calls attention to the difficulties unique to the loss of a beloved pet and provides an interactive and compassionate guide to help you process your loss and work towards coming to a place of peace and healing. For those interested in journal therapy and looking for a professionally written and compassionate resource to help understand and reconcile the grief associated with the loss of your pet, this book is for you. And I Love You Still, a thoughtful guide and remembrance journal by Julianne Corbin, is now available for purchase on Amazon and other major book retailers.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Doggy Diva Show. Dianne Harman is an award-winning, best-selling author whose cozy mystery books have topped the Amazon charts for years. She is truly what I call the queen of cozy mysteries. And
Thank you.
You definitely deserve it. And not only is she a best-selling author, but she is a dog lover. So dogs are featured in her cozy mysteries. And another one of my favorite things besides dogs, the yummy food. Yummy food is featured in her cozy mysteries. And she follows up at the back of the book with some delicious recipes that my husband always benefits from. He loves that.
I'm glad he does.
He does, and you give us such great, and they're easy to follow. And yes, Miss Olive and I have always loved cuddling up in a comfy chair with a cup of tea, reading Diane's cozy mysteries. And I'm telling you, once we started them, we could not stop. So for this holiday issue of Miss Olive's Favorite Things, I chose the book Undecided, which is the 9th book in the Chef Dani Rosetti Cozy Mysteries. And I'm so happy to have with me the Queen of Cozy Mysteries. Hey, Dianne, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me. I was looking forward to it, and I was thrilled that Miss Oliver's Favorite Things, featured the newest book, the Dani Rosetti book, Undecided. I appreciate that.
No, actually, no. Since Miss Olive's passed, we have her sisters taking over Miss Olive's Favorite Things, and all I saw was paws up. 3 dogs, paws up, going, no, we love so we love Undecided. So yeah, so it's a family affair. So
Okay.
and we're so happy that you're back with us. And for our first time listeners who may not be familiar with who you are, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Because you do have a very diverse and very interesting background.
Yes, I came to writing a bit late. I was an antique and art appraiser for many years, and then I went into yoga and had a couple of studios, and then my husband became involved in politics, and I figured that me standing on my head would not help his election, so that's when I started writing. Actually, when he retired from politics, I'd always kind of thought about, gee, wouldn't it be fun? So I wrote one, and it did well, and I was shocked. Everybody was shocked, and here I am 10 years later still writing.
And everyone gets better and better and better. And now, for those listeners who may not be familiar with what a cozy mystery is, can you just tell them a little about what a cozy mystery is?
Yes, it's a mystery, not necessarily a murder, although I would say there certainly are. Probably the majority of cozy mysteries have a murder in them, but they are free of violence, gore. If there's sex, it's behind closed doors and you're really not aware of it, and there's no swearing. So I'd say it's clean and wholesome is kind of what the standard is. And I would say my books are that way. I don't enjoy particularly reading books that have a lot of the other things in them. So that's why I write these.
No, and I love a good cozy mystery because you don't have to deal with all of that other stuff. And
yes, there is often a small town atmosphere. I have a couple of my series that do have small towns, but then I have a couple that are international, and those have done really as well, which is kind of against the standard.
Well, and and we'll get into some of your stuff because I do want the listeners to know about the international flair because I totally love that. But I've always loved your small town, the coffee house, the bed and breakfast. And can you just tell us about your series? Because you have a number of series so that people, whatever anyone's flair or love is, I think that you've cornered that market, and it makes it comfortable. And I have always told you in the years I've had you on here that I always feel when I'm reading it that I become a part of the community. And you sometimes, you'll have like an underlying message, whether it be homelessness or different things that are going on that you incorporate into it, and you make the reader feel like they're a part of whether it be the small town or some of these international ones that I'm really enjoying now.
I have a weird thing that happens when I'm writing, and my husband says, don't tell people, they'll put you in an institution. But it's as if the people were talking to me, and I'm simply putting it down on paper. I don't know why, but the conversations, I'm not struggling for words. They're talking, I can see them, I can hear them. So maybe that's where that sense of being in the place comes from. I'm there when I'm doing it. Cedar Bay was my first series. Kelly's Coffee Shop was my first cozy mystery book. And that's a small town in Oregon. And people, have seemed to like that a lot. High Desert takes place in Palm Springs, but not really in Palm Springs. It's in a little town just above Palm Springs, about 30 miles out. So there's a small town flavor there as well as a desert. Northwest Cozy Mystery Series is on Bainbridge Island that encompasses Seattle and kind of that whole Northwest. But if you've ever been to the Northwest, Bainbridge Island is just about a half an hour ferry ride from Seattle. And it is a pretty insular community, if you will. So I'd say it's a pretty small town. Cottonwood Springs is one of my, I've got a little cough. That's one of my bestsellers. And it takes place in a small little town in Colorado, Cottonwood Springs. And it's got a real small town flavor to it. And then my Dani Rosetti is a chef, and she's a little more international. And she came about because I, in one of my newsletters, sent out a questionnaire saying, what would you like to see? I'm getting ready to start a new series. And they said they wanted a strong woman who was not tied to a man's, his career or anything else, strong on her own. And they wanted her to be in different places. So I thought, okay, let's do a chef who is hired by people around the world. And then I could bring in different areas of the world, which I was able to do. And then my last one, my newest one, is the Gabriella Hunt Cozy Mystery Series. And she is English, but she married an American man. And then when he died, she bought a hotel. And she travels a bit too. So there's a bit of international, but also a bit of hometown because it is in a small town, Coeur d'Alene.
Yes, and that's right. Because reading that series, you do feel the hometownness. It's all local people that work in the hotel that she purchases,
Yes.
but yet a lot of what she's doing personally, and she made sure she put the right people in place so she could do this, that she could travel, and you kind of benefit from that travel that she's going on. So no,
Well,
I totally. It's
I,
very authentic.
thank you. I love to read books that take me to different
Mm-hmm.
places, particularly places I may have been, to get their take on it. I'll almost always buy a book or read it if it's in Los Angeles or in my area here at the beach. And there are some other places, Seattle. I spent a lot of time in Seattle, so I tend to gravitate toward that. And I've noticed when I put the name of a city or an area, that I get a lot of people who buy the book from that area because, like me, they like to read about their area.
Exactly, exactly, and that's and again, it brings the reader into the atmosphere or the people that you're talking about. And in the books, though you do have other characters that come in and out, there's that core group of people that I've become familiar with and comfortable with and feel like I'm a part of it. But another thing that you have in your books, and this is, I want everyone to know this, is that you are a dog lover and a foodie lover, and can you tell us about your dog and about all of those yummy recipes and like who tests them out, or how do we know what we're going to get in this book? Because the books have yummy recipes.
Well, thank you. As far as the recipes, I try to kind of gear them. If we're in England, usually, unless there's something else happening, I would do English. If you're in Italy, I have one, Murder at the Cooking School, Cedar Bay, that takes place in Italy. So the food there is Italian. I love to cook. I love to eat. My husband loves to cook, and doing recipes is one of our favorite things. So that's why there's no lack of recipes in there. I have plenty I can put in. As far as dogs, we've had dogs ever since we've been married, and the last few breeds have been boxers. And we presently have a boxer supposed to be 85 or 90 pounds. She topped out at 40 pounds, and she's kind of a miniature, but perfect. And everywhere we take her, oh, what a cute puppy. No, she's 8 years old. So just kind of happened. We saw the mother and the father, and they were big. She didn't get big, but we love dogs. Our kids love dogs. We've got grand dogs. We've got bulldogs. We've got Labrador retrievers. So our son's coming over for lunch and his wife tomorrow, and they're bringing their dog, of course. So it's always part of our life.
I love that. And that comes out in your books. And speaking of, pups and recipes, let's talk about Undecided, which is book 9 in the chef Dani Rosetti book. And of course, there's a dog that's in that she has, a killer, and the characters in that book. And I have to tell you, Dianne, I was reading through this and it takes place in England. And some of the recipes were kind of interesting, in which she was asked to create for this elegant meal.
I thought it'd be fun.
I loved it. I thought that it was great, and I thought that the total vibe of the book was wonderful. And I have to tell you that this was one of the most hated villains you've ever had, and I hated her from the start. It was wonderful, and plus the scenes were great. So there's a lot in there. So can you tell us about Dani Rosetti and like about this book?
Well, the thing that started the book was we had our flowers out, and the dahlias came into bloom. We have them on the patio, and everyone that walked in the house could see this one and said, "Oh, that's incredible, just incredible." And I took a picture of it, and my husband said, "Why don't you put it in your newsletter?" And I never do that kind of thing, but I thought, okay, I will. And I received so many emails about it, and one of my readers said, "Why don't you put that on the cover of a book and write a book about it?" And that's the genesis of the book. The cover is my dahlia, And the rest of it came from the little conversations in my mind.
Well, I get a lot of your books, the soft cover books. So I actually have the book in my hand and I see the cover.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, no, this is gorgeous. The dahlia that you have on the cover. I mean, there's no denying that this is like a gorgeous dahlia. This is yours, isn't it?
It is. It is.
It is
and
absolutely gorgeous.
I don't know why it came out like that. I mean, it was just spectacular. And so I'm so pleased that it is on the cover of a book. And I have gorgeous. The cover too. And perpetuity, will it to the children and the grandchildren.
Now, in the book, the dahlia in the book has a name, which is what the name of the book is, Undecided. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, the colors of the flower were kind of a yellow and a pinkish orange, but it was kind of undecided whether it was going to be all yellow or all pinkish orange, and that's how it came out. And I kind of find these fascinating because I raise orchids, and I can't say I raise them, I'm the caretaker of some, but we have a lot of them, and each one is different. And that's kind of what this dahlia was. But to try and get the specific one again can often be difficult. And so I did a lot of reading on the dahlias and the way you could propagate them and everything. And that comes out in the book as well. But I thought the premise was interesting. If someone had a dahlia that was spectacular, but they refused to tell anyone their secret, what would people do for that? Because she wouldn't sell seeds or anything else.
No, she wouldn't even admit it was her.
No, she wore, the anonymous scarves and everything else, so no one would know.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. You know what it reminded me of? And other contests, whether it be, some sort of a dog or a cat, or whatever these contests are, but the propriety and the feeling that all of these contestants have for their dahlias. Yes. It was like it was like having an animal or something that you're showing the pride and you went very into depth as to how they reproduce and what they're looking for so that they could get this dahlia her dahlia won everything. And I was like so amazed in that.
You've been at dog shows and things like that, and people are so vested it becomes them. Mm-hmm. They take on that persona, and the dog represents them. It's the same, really, in any I think hobby thing that becomes pretty monetarily oriented. And the flower industry is the same way, and I'm sure there's many others that are like that. We had a dog we showed that was the only way we could get the dog was the breeder said the only way is that you had to show this dog and I will train her. And we had to name her after a vodka. Why? I don't know. I can remember standing in front of the vodka bottles going, what am I going to name her? We came up with Sky, which I kind of liked.
Oh, I like that.
But going to the shows and seeing behind the scenes in the grooming rooms and things like that, people's lives are totally wrapped up in their hobby, which actually transcends their hobby and becomes a means. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of also what I was thinking about when I wrote the book.
And you also included that sense of passion because I know people who do show. There's that sense of passion, and you're right. It consumes your life. And I sense that. I had no idea people were like this with flowers. I sensed that in the book with the flowers, and I'm like, it resonated with me, and I'm going, oh my God, this passion is so overwhelming for the dahlia. I mean, the whole show is about dahlia. The whole, the show that was upcoming that the book was about dahlias, and it just like I'm going. It gave me a different appreciation for people who, like, I know people who grow orchids and have different. I don't know anyone that grows a dahlia, but I love a dahlia. They're gorgeous. And that's why I had a certain, I was kind of like in awe of everything that went into it. And it reminded me of my friends who have dogs and cats that they may show. So it was very good, very authentic, as I said before. And I'm telling you, the picture on the cover, and I know it's yours, is absolutely breathtaking.
One thing that happened when we had this dog that we had to show, we went to the show that the person was going to put her in, and she told me that I could not be anywhere near the dog because the dog would scent me and not perform. And so I stayed way away. And then after the show, I walked up to the dog, and the dog jumped on me and actually pushed me down. So I'm laying flat on my back in the middle of this dog show. My husband's going, "Get up, Diane, get up." It was not anyone's finest moment. But the woman who showed Sky told me something I've never forgotten. She said, "To you, this was just a fun thing." She said, "To people who are into it, this is their life." Mm-hmm. She said, "You have other interests. A lot of these people don't. So always keep that in mind." And I think that's what I was trying to do with the Doggies. This is their life. Like the mother of the man who on the plane who went back to England when she moved, that kind of became her life, to be a judge of the Doggies.
Mm-hmm. And it gives you a respect for what it's their life. It's taken very seriously, and it's something that people benefit from financially, but it's even more than that. It's like it's like a career. It's like they're consumed.
It's a commitment.
Yes, it's a commit. That's what it is.
Total commitment.
It's a commitment.
And the amount of learning
yes,
that they have to go through to become a judge or anything. And of course, there's always going to be a little subjective to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of fascinating. I subscribe to an orchid magazine that is just, I look at it and the pictures are fabulous, but I read this and I think, this is so far above my pay grade. I mean, I don't know any of this. But I figure there's a whole lot of people that do. And that's another thing that went into the thinking of the Dahlia judges.
Yeah, no, it was eye-opening, and it also resonated with me because I go, oh my God, I recognize this from talking to people who are, whether they show dogs or have handlers that show their dogs. So it's like, it's very real, and you captured that in the book. So
thank you.
I'm glad. You. Yeah, it was really, really good. What do we have to look forward to in the next Dani Rosetti book?
The next Dani Rosetti book, I just haven't quite gotten there yet.
I can't believe it's going to be book 10. I remember when this first started.
Either.
Yeah.
I can't either. I don't know. I have a new book coming out that is Voices from the Past.
I already have it booked.
This is a Kindle. Northwest book. And it kind of goes with the premise that things that happened to us 20 years ago or so can still come back to bite us or haunt us. And we're never quite free of our past, even though we think we may have left it and gone on to other things. Whatever happened becomes a part of us. And that's kind of the premise of that book. And then I just had one that Murder in Santa Monica, which is a Gabriella Hunt. And that just came out a couple of weeks ago. And I thought that was an interesting premise. I'm co-writing it with a man who lives in England. And it's kind of fun to get his take on things. And it's been enjoyable. I've liked it.
Well, it has what I love about it. And this is, I think that the Murder in Santa Monica was book 3, correct?
That's correct.
And so I kind of blew through these. I totally loved them. They have kind of the Dani Rosetti, strong female character, international flair, but it also has the smaller town flair too. It has that, it's working with though Dani Rosetti works with the same, she has her sous chef who's also a private investigator, her niece and her dog, and Matt and Bridget, they travel with her. But this is more of I found that the Gabriella Hunt series was more of, she has this hotel, it's in this beautiful little town, there's a lot of small town things that go on, but yet there's international things that goes on. And the fact that she's British and your co-author, Andrew Thomas, is British, it has that, again, though I know you've traveled all over the world too, it has another sense of that authenticity.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Andrew, I think, is doing a beautiful job. I'm very pleased to work with him, and I like his take on things. Sometimes they're a little different than mine would be. We did the murder in Belize, and I have not been there, but he has. And in fact, my husband and son went there fishing many years ago, and I've always regretted that I didn't go because
sounds beautiful.
I would have liked to. But Coeur d'Alene is certainly a small town in Idaho. And so, we can pull in the small town as well as the international. And I asked my readers if that, what they would like me to write about. And that was pretty much a consensus of opinion. And I'm trying to go with that.
Yeah, no, this is a winner. I totally like it. I like the vibe of it. It has like as all your books are, they're very quick reads because you want to, if someone's calling me and saying, well, can you do this? Well, wait a minute, let me just read one more chapter. So I tend to finish your books very quickly because I go, they're very, not only are they interesting, but I can relate to some of the stuff that's in them, or I'm learning a lot from stuff that's in them. So it keeps me going.
Yeah, they're short reads.
Yeah.
They, long and involved, 900 pages, or something. But I did them deliberately that way because I love to pick up a book and read it that afternoon and not have to spend 2 weeks with it or something. And that's what I tried to do. And really, people say, well, how long is the book? I don't know. When the book's finished, it's finished. Rather than trying to add 1 million words to it or something.
No, yours are always long enough. They're perfect for me because my attention span suits how many pages are in your book. And speaking of that, what is there anything coming up more in the Gabriella Hunt Cozy Mysteries?
Yes, working on one now, and it will be kind of with a little Northwest flavor in the Tacoma, Seattle area up there. So she'll be going up there, and I'm not real sure where we're going to take her after that. Probably somewhere a little more international.
Well, wherever she goes, I'm following. So.
Thank you. That's a very good line.
Yes, I'm following. So
I just may use that if you don't mind.
I don't know. I'd be honored. So for the listeners who want to learn more about you, who want to learn more about Undecided, if they want to learn more about all of your series, where can they go?
Well, they can go to Amazon, and I am exclusive to Amazon. All my books are in what's called Kindle Unlimited, where people can pay $9.99 a month, and they can take out, I think it's 10 books at any given time. So you could actually take out 30 books a month if you want to get rid of some. And that way, there's no cost to them beyond the $9.99. So that's one way of doing it. Just go to Amazon, Dianne Harman, DIANNE. HARMAN, and I have a page that's my author page there that lists all the books. They could also go to my website, www.dianneharman.com, and that should take them up there too. Most of my books are available in audiobook form through Audible as well.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because a lot of people love to do the audiobooks.
Yes.
And so that's really great. And I get some of yours I'll get as a hard copy. I know that if someone's going to get me a gift, I tell them what I want. But I do Kindle Unlimited. I have so many of your books that I blow through on Kindle Unlimited because of the fact that they're available. And, you have so many books that it's like you can never get enough. So that's
I use Kindle Unlimited myself, and I've been subscribing to. In fact, I even gave my granddaughter a Christmas gift of it a couple of years ago because she's a big reader, and certainly not in my genre, fantasy and things like this. But she loved it. So for anyone who's a reader, if you buy 1 or 2 books, there's your $9.99. So I think it works.
So, Dianne, before we go, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners?
No, I just, I love to hear from my readers. So my email is always at the back of my books. And if you have a thought on a book or an idea, I'm open. As I said, the whole idea for Undecided came about from a reader. So please, I'd love to hear from you.
Well, Dianne, I want to thank you so much for being our guest and coming back. We'd love to have you on the show and for sharing Undecided with us, which if anyone gets the book itself and looks at the cover, you're going to be, it's just awesome.
Thank you.
We always love having you as our guest and for sharing, these dog-loving, cozy mysteries with our listeners. And I personally want to thank you because, as you know, I lost Olive recently, and you have immortalized her in one of your books. The characters was inspired by Miss Olive in the High Desert Cozy Mystery, Murder in High Rollers. So I want to thank you because I'll always have that book. Actually, we have it up in the house, and my husband has it up in his office. So people are always going,
well, she's on the cover. So.
Yes, her picture's right on the cover, and people look at it and go, oh my goodness. So I want to thank you for that. And I always, I love having you on, talking about this, talking about the food, talking about the dogs, and talking about these strong women, whether it's international travel, small town life. It's something that I think that all of us can relate to, and you have a little something for all of us. So I thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I just want to get you are awesome, and I want to give out your website again. It's www.Dianne, that's with two N's, Dianne, Harman, HARMAN.com.
Correct.
And again, if you guys aren't signed up for Kindle Unlimited, sign up because you're going to love it. You're going to have all these books you can read. So Dianne, thank you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it as always.
Thank you. And we'll talk to you again soon. We'll be back in just a moment.
Pet Life Radio, the #1 pet radio network on the planet, joins forces with iHeartRadio to put the power of your pets in your pocket.
Awesome.
Download the iHeartRadio app and rock Pet Life Radio on your phone, on your tablet, on your Xbox, in your car. Pet talk, pet tunes, and fun pet times. Pet Life Radio and iHeartRadio. Positively Possum.
We would like to thank our guests this week. And also, as our doggy divas always say, please love your pets because they love you unconditionally. And please remember to adopt, foster, spay, neuter, and microchip. And as always, please have a great Diva week, everyone.
That's all for this episode of The Doggy Diva Show. To find out more, go to our website, thedoggydiva.com. Also, find us on our Facebook page, The Doggy Diva Show, and tell your fellow dog lovers about it. Don't miss Susan Marie, Miss Olive, and the Doggy Divas right here for the next episode. See you again soon.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.